Welcome to the Disconnection Podcast. My name is Kyle Nielsen, and I'm here with Ori Yakutiel, and we'll be your host for today's show. Our guest today is Stephen Berthomieux, the lead singer and frontman for The Big Easy. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come in today, Stephen.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
Stephen, first things first, tell us about your name.
Yeah,
Well,
did I pronounce that right?
Yeah,
Berthomieux?
you said it perfectly.
Cool.
My parents are Haitian, and a lot of the language comes from French, so it's a very French name. And no one pronounces it because, well, not everyone can, oui, and pronounce French words.
Yeah,
But
it's hard to pronounce.
if you want like a funny story about it, I mean, it's always been a name that's been very weird for me in the sense that growing up, being in school, I was in school with a bunch of people that I felt like had normal names, which really meant they just had American names.
John Smith,
Yeah.
Jane Doe. What's
so so I can. One of the things I'll never like forget is teachers would always, pronounce everyone's name correctly, but when they got to me, it'd always be Stephen or Steven, but then I just put my hand up and be like, that's me. So like, after about like 4 or 5 years of schooling, I started realizing that I'm never gonna get my name right. Well, as far as just like, it's also because it's a B name, so it's always like the first. So I was always ready to just be like, hey, it's me.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Oh my god.
I was always ready to be like, hey, it's me. Don't even bother.
See, my last name, Yakutiel, nobody can pronounce that right either. But I was at the end.
I always
Why?
pronounce it
Like,
Yucatil.
Yakutiel, Yakutiel.
Do you know how to speak French?
No
No.
way.
Pronounce your last name for me.
Beltham, yeah.
Berthomieux. Perfect.
I can pronounce my name. I mean, that'd be a travesty if I couldn't pronounce my name.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I can pick up on a couple of French words, but there's no way I can sit here and with a straight face and tell you, yeah, I speak French.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I can do that.
Do you know when your parents came over from Haiti? to the
Oh,
States?
you know what? I actually asked my dad about this recently. And by recently, I mean a couple months ago.
Cool.
I'm 27 years old, and I felt like I'd known so little about how my parents got here. So I remember asking my dad when we were out to dinner one night. I was just like, how did you like give me your story?
Yeah.
And he pretty much told me like he pretty much got here when he was like my age, around maybe a couple years older than me.
Yeah.
But it was around my age. And I think about my life now, I'm like, holy shit, like how I could never think of doing anything like that at this point in my life. Moving from a third world country all the way up to America and
Starting over,
like,
right?
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? How?
Was he first one over here? Like, were there already other family members that already kind of like set up
Yeah,
shop
so I
here?
asked him, I was like, so like, give me, what the hell? And I still think I'm the first generation of my family being here in the sense that like being born here.
Yeah.
But my dad told me that he obviously had help along the way. You can't do that type of thing alone. But I think if I remember correctly, he was like, yeah, my aunt already made it up here. And he somehow got here. And I asked him how. I was like, how do you do that? And he was just like, you make things work out of necessity.
Mhm.
When you need something to happen, like you will find a way to make it happen. And he brought up my mom, and then my brother was born, and then it's so wild. And then like they were like still like kind of like kids, and
Yeah, they're
they
27,
couldn't. Yeah,
right?
they
Like
just
27,
got to
28.
America, and they still figuring their shit out. So
Where in America?
Oh man, I could be wrong. Damn, my dad's gonna kill me when he hears this. I think he might have went to Spring Valley first, but I'm not sure if there's anywhere along the way. I just know my brother and my mom and my dad started there. Like that's where they had their first place. That's as far back I remember. As far as I never lived in Spring Valley. Spring Valley is in Rockland County, New York.
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that's where they went, or he went, and he managed to bring up my brother and my mom, and then they had to send my brother back to Haiti.
No way.
What's
Yeah,
the story with that?
they had to send him back
What's
because
the story?
there were kids that they couldn't support him.
Wow.
So we got to take you back and have our my like our aunts and uncles,
Mm-hmm.
have you for like a year while we get our shit together, and then like you come back.
Wow.
Damn.
So my brother lived in Haiti for about like a year,
Wow.
and when he was like a kid, and I remember hearing a funny stories like when he finally got back, or my parents saw him again, like after like a year, like he didn't even like know who they were.
No
He
way.
was just like, no, these are my family.
Well,
How old was he at the time?
He was like a
Tod-
child.
A toddler.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's so wild. I think about like that tells me how like crazy it was for them just to even, make it happen here.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be sitting here in a situation like in a room like this, it's kind of, almost.
It's a crazy journey.
Yeah, it's like an eye opening experience. I feel like if we're gonna talk about like what people's parents have done for them, I think that like my parents have done enough. I feel like the ball is kind of in my court to
Mm-hmm.
make things happen. I feel like I've been put in a situation or a position where I can actually like do something, and I know that there's so many people in Haiti that can or don't.
Or don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, don't. Yeah,
The same opportunities.
yeah, they don't have the same opportunities, or they can't.
You said you were
like,
born in Spring Valley, or you?
No, I was born in Nyack.
In Nyack.
Yeah, which
And-
is still in Rockland County.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's where I was born.
How'd your family get to Closter?
Well,
That's where I met you. That's where like my Stephen experience started.
yeah,
from.
I mean
like,
that's where everything kind of like I moved there right when like I was kind of becoming a real to say I'm a real person now is ridiculous.
So when was that? When was that?
I mean, I grew up in Inglewood, and I moved to Closter in 8th grade, so I was like 14 years old.
What a
Went to high
time to
school.
move.
Definitely not. A
Oh,
real
I was
person.
pissed.
Definitely.
I was fucking pissed. I was not happy about
That's
it.
right when your social circle is like starting to build, it's solidifying.
Exactly. But, if you asked me then, I would have been angry as hell. But ask me now, I'm happy we did it.
Mhm.
I feel like I would not have, I feel like I wouldn't be or know or do the things that I'm doing now. So I'm cool with it. I look back at it like as an adult and be like, yeah, that was a good call, my parents. Even though I hated it. It was really I was really angry at the time. Like I remember like
Is that middle school for you? 14 years old, or is that like freshman year of high school?
no, that was on the cusp of high school.
8th grade.
So I spent my 8th grade in Closter. I went to
NVD.
no, I went that last year of middle school. I went in Closter.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then I went to NVD.
I always thought Northern Valley was.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows what NVD is.
Yeah, Northern Valley
High
Regional.
school.
Northern Valley Demarest.
Northern Valley
Regional-
Demarest Regional High School.
High school, yeah.
We
Yeah.
shared with like 3 towns. It's a very small neighborhood. I just
Yeah.
moved from like a city to a small neighborhood.
Well, what was that like? Tell us more about that.
Oh, that was wild. I need to take a drink for that one.
Wild in what sense? Yeah, tell us about
'Cause-
like the transition.
Yeah, the transition from Englewood, which is predominantly black, or of color, Hispanic as well, to Closter, which is predominantly white.
Yeah, that was,
and Jappy people at times, and Jappy is like Jewish American princess, some might consider, which is derogatory, but at the same time, that stigma of like mean girls is like that area,
Yeah.
NVD,
So
Closter.
tell us what was that like transition like?
well, it was I mean, it wasn't like it was weird and not weird at the same time because I went to schooling in Demarest, which is like in that neighborhood. And if you know that neighborhood at all, those in like Closter, Demarest, Hallworth, they all share the same high school. So I went to school there as far as like elementary school and middle school, I went to a private school though. So I was always like kind of like around that environment.
Okay.
But also growing up in Inglewood and living there, so like leaving that environment every day to go back to my homies.
Cool.
So like it was weird. It's almost like there's like I was like two different people in some sense. I go to like my predominantly white elementary school and see what life is like on this side, and then go back home and live that life.
Whoa.
With just like doing stupid shit, being
a kid.
Yeah,
though,
being a kid.
Yeah.
So then in 8th grade, when I moved to the neighborhood that everyone kind of knows me for now, is it was weird, but like I kind of felt like I already done it.
How it worked.
I already knew how like it was over there, but like just to be in it was a little different. But I think that like clearly at that point in your life, you're not even who you're really gonna be yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's like I feel like that's like a giant crossroads where like depending on what happens at that moment or that time in your life between like your adolescence, it has a huge role in who you become.
Yeah, your teen years are huge. Yeah.
So I feel like I definitely wouldn't be, into the things I'm into now, doing the things I'm doing now, if I'd stayed in Inglewood. Sure. There's no way, because I still see my friends from there, and like they're all doing what's to do in Inglewood, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, Inglewood's changed a whole lot, though.
Yeah, it has. But you're saying like you could almost imagine the life that you could have had if
Absolutely.
you had stayed there.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was there from 1990 to 2004.
Wow.
So I like it's a different time back then. If you go to England now, like there's
Very
still
different
some
time.
parts where like it's a little sketchy, but it's a lot less than it was, and then back then.
Mm-hmm.
But
At what point did you get into music?
it was pretty much when I moved to Closter.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, once I got there, I was around my friends who pretty much were like doing things I felt like I didn't have access to or was doing in Inglewood.
So you weren't playing guitar when you were in Inglewood?
No way.
No way. No way.
I was just being a goofball.
How'd you pick up a
When I was
guitar?
a kid. How'd I pick it up?
Yeah.
Well, I went to elementary school in Demarest, so I still had friends there. So I would have sleepovers, and when I'm having a sleepover at my buddy Tom's house, 5th grade, I suppose. No, 7th grade, or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's all
Mush.
one blur.
Yeah.
I was like 15 years old, and we're like high off candy in his basement, literally
Sugar
just
rush.
like high, yeah. And his family, Tom Warren's family, if you know the Warrens, they're a musical family. Like the parents came from music, so there's like instruments laying all over the place. And there was a bass laying there. I just picked it up and just started like messing around with it. I was like doing this hammer on the 12th fret. It went, boo-doo, 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 boo-doo.
And that became our biggest hit.
And that pretty much that night, Tom turns to me. He's like, "Yo, we should start a band."
That night, having picked up the guitar.
Yeah.
Not
once.
picked up.
Yeah.
Not picked up. Just
Yeah,
hammering.
Yeah,
Hammering.
it was
onto
actually
the
sitting in my
bass.
lap, and I was just like, doo-doo, doo-doo. And then I picked it up, started messing around with it. And he's like, "Yo, we should start a band." And Luke was his younger brother. Luke was in the room, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that was our first band right there. We were like 15, 16 years old. Like 15, 16, yeah, I suppose.
Do you guys have a name?
A fighting can.
A fighting can.
The way we killed it was so funny, though.
Yeah. What's the story?
Because
behind
we
that?
all, like, someone had to pick, like I said, like, adjective. Someone had to pick a noun. And someone picked
you like
a...
mad-libbed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
So someone had the choice between A and the. Someone had the choice of, like, any, I guess, action verb,
Right.
which is mine. I chose fighting.
Nice.
And
then
Fighting
can.
Yeah, someone chose can.
Dude, why are we called the Big Easy, dude? We need to be a fighting can.
Oh my god! And that's kind of how it started, and we all literally had no idea.
Okay, so you on bass, what? Tom on drums, guitar,
drums,
Tom on drums, and then Luke on guitar.
Yeah. We didn't.
Did you all sing?
No. There was no singing involved.
There was no singing.
There was no music involved. There was nothing in key. There was
Okay, so what was like the real getting into music? The real like, all right, I'm a teenager that can.
So I mean,
now play.
After that, high school started, and then Tom, like, so we like obviously we'd meet friends and all that, and Tom joined band and like met friends that way, and I I took Japanese class.
Nice.
So
Dude, you would.
So like yeah, we just met a bunch of kids, and then we met our friend at the time, Trevor, and he was a drummer, and Tom was playing guitar, and I at this point already like decided to start playing bass, but not really. So like my dad and my uncle like bought a bass for me.
Awesome.
And I was messing around with it for a little bit, but I didn't really do anything. But
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's,
nice.
Yeah, it's
nice.
the bass sitting in my room right now. It's
nice.
it is a piece of shit.
Don't tell your dad that.
No, I mean, it's the truth.
Dude,
no,
you're gonna get such a whooping after your dad hears this episode.
I hope not. Dad, I'm sorry. It's a Fender Squire, but so we did that, and then made our friend Trevor. He played drums. Him and Tom and Trevor started a band called Peculiar Piano Riffs. They played this thing called Japanese Idol in high school. I watched them. They asked me to play before I watched them. I told them no, I don't want to play in a band. It doesn't sound like fun. I think I was really just too nervous to play in front of people. That was really the reason. And then I saw them play like in a small little classroom, kill it and have so much fun and like rock the fuck out. And I was like, guys, I'm joining the band.
You wanted a piece of
I was like, yo, guys, I'm going to play bass for you guys. Because before it was just guitar and drums, and they like, Tom just started writing music.
Yeah.
We had been like 16 at the time. Just started. And I was like, that looked like so much fun in this small little classroom. They just like, I was like, I'm doing this. So I was like, guys, I want to join now. And then from there, like, we started playing shows.
Nice.
Like, literally right then and there.
Where would you play?
We played a show. My first show I ever played was, or you'll probably know this, right across the street from Demarest Middle School, that St. Joseph's.
That little like gazebo thing?
Yeah, I essentially just played a show
park?
at my elementary school.
Yeah.
After I was not in elementary school in the gymnasium to like a great turnout of like 30 people.
Nice.
Was it Battle of the Bands? What was it?
I don't know what it was. I don't remember the details of like what it. All I know is we were playing a show there for some type of like fundraiser.
Okay, so the fun.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah,
You're not just setting up shows.
Yeah,
like, yo, guys, come on to the show.
I'm assuming it was a fundraiser.
Yeah,
it's the only that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's believable.
Or Battle of the Bands. There was a lot of like Battle of the Bands.
I know it wasn't a Battle of the Bands. There was no competition involved.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely was like, oh, let's get these 15 and 16-year-olds to play some music. And I know Tom's mom recorded the whole thing on VHS.
Oh, no.
I haven't seen it in years, but
there is a recording of your first show on VHS.
I've never been so nervous.
Huh.
It was so. I was like, there's so many people here. There's like 30 people there.
Yeah.
I'm sure we sounded great.
Was there anyone singing at the time?
Yeah, it was Tom.
And was there like a genre that you guys picked out? What were you playing?
It was definitely indie rock. I think the genre we were going by was called like noise pop.
Okay.
If you guys are familiar with noise pop.
I am, but why don't you explain it for everyone else that's listening?
Essentially, noise pop, I guess like 90s indie rock noise pop was so much like in the sound of bands like Pavement, which pretty much, I mean.
What are some other bands?
Yeah, I mean Pixies, Pavement.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many. Oh man, I'm
Listen,
drawing.
listen.
Yeah, well, I mean, like so.
Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Yeah, you are freezing up.
In the '90s, I saw like a lot of the bands that I feel like are noise pop now, or like if I'm gonna call them noise pop, you got Pavement, Pixies, Sonic Youth. I might even throw Guided by Voices in there, although they're more of like a lo-fi. Indie rock just had a sound in the '90s, and a lot of it kind of blended over into like noise pop. So I feel like indie rock, like the defining sound of indie rock back then, is what you can call noise pop. I mean, if you really want to throw Modest Mouse in there, you can. And the idea behind it is you have a band that is essentially giving you very catchy and poppy melodies and hooks and chord progressions over the sound of very noisy and distorted guitars. That's the name noise pop.
Sweet.
Cool.
So it's poppy.
Yeah.
And if you listen, like you can hear the catchiness of the music.
That sounds like most indie nowadays.
But
like,
it sounds very dirty and kind of like the guitars are very, noisy, and it just sounds kind of like almost fucked up sounding. But it also
coming out of the grunge era.
Yeah, and it gives to me like that music so much character. And there's a huge resurgence of bands like that. Today I feel like that's almost a current sound of indie rock right now. I feel like it's gone back to like 90s sounding stuff, but I think noise pop that's what I would define it. I think that's it.
Speaking of current music, is there an artist that like you think stands above like everyone else across genre?
And as a particular artist,
Yeah, is there like an artist that you think is like just like above?
I mean, you mean besides Drake?
No way. That is so far from indie rock. Please tell me why you choose Drake.
Drake is why or why not?
Yeah. All right, listen. There's a lot of people.
Are you gonna sit here and tell me that you're not a Drake fan?
I am a Drake fan. I was just about to tell you I am a Drake fan, and there's a lot of people that refuse to listen to him. Me personally, I think he's got a great sound. I think that part of the catch for me to his like rap or to his R&B is that he tells stories about his life or what we perceive as his life, being the populace, not knowing exactly what's going on in Drake's life. It's like, oh, like he's got this story about some girl and this is happening. Like, I feel like it's true, whether it is or isn't. At least that's my draw. I feel like it's honest.
He's a good storyteller.
Yeah, he's a good
Good
storyteller.
storyteller.
And I think that's probably one of the best parts about Drake, right? The fact that like when you listen to hip hop, you don't really get this like current hip hop.
Mhm.
Like, let me just preface my statements with saying that I'm talking about current hip hop right now, not hip hop of the past. But you almost feel like a lot of it's just like bullshit in a sense. Not that they didn't come up from where they came up from, but Drake almost makes it. He made it cool to be almost like emotional on the record. He made it cool. So like after he did that, how many other like R&B / singers came out and started like pouring their hearts out, or just going in that stylistic way of going about that music in a way where like they're being very vulnerable on that record.
Yeah.
But like on a rap,
on a rap record.
like not being like he's talking about his like emotional problems and girl issues.
Yeah.
But like on a rap hip hop record,
And
not an R&B like soul thing,
Like he kind of blends the two. He's also like a pop artist, you can say as well. But like that's one of the things I feel like Drake does so well is that like he's able to convey these certain emotions that I think are just true to everyone. And I love music that way. I love that type of music in a genre of music where that is at one point what was not cool to do that.
Right.
And
well, yeah,
now it is.
It was like the mid 2000s or especially late 2000s was like gangster rap and everyone being hard in their squad. And then you have Drake come out. Well, Drake came out what, like 09, 08, coming out of like the mid O's and
The mid-O's.
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 Coming out the mid-O's.
See if that catches on.
Yeah, starting right now. There's a name for them, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, there was a lot of like hard gangster rap, and
let's go with that.
Then you get like, emotional Drake. You get you the fucking best.
No, I'm not. Look, I don't think it's fair to say that Drake is the one who started.
He's not. No, I'm not saying. But like
I think
he broke the mold.
Yeah, I think that as far as what he's done, you can just look at it and be like, he made it cool for rappers to do that. I think today. So that's one reason why he's
one of the many.
One of them. I mean, his music is just.
All right, so let's stop talking about Drake. Get back to you. Yeah. Are you trying to model that emotional side in any of your indie rock? Because listen, you're the writer for the Big Easy. You're the singer. Do you try and replicate that at all?
I definitely I think my main objective as a musician, or one of them, is to be able to convey emotions through music, whether it be vocals, whether it be drums, how the guitars play, what riff is being played, how I feel like emotions are so easy, well, not easy, but you can convey them, very specific emotions that you can convey through music. And that's one of my biggest goals, is trying to being able to get that point across, and not so much a meaning. My songs to mean whatever to anyone. They mean something to me. There's a meaning within each song that I write, or each line that I write, but that's not really what I'm trying to get to you. I'm trying to get you to feel that emotion.
It's the noise that vibrates through you.
Exactly. I'm trying to get you to feel what, and that could be in lyrics. It could be in the way the song is sang. It could be the way the drums hit that one part. I'll be like, yo, I need you to wash that ride. That's what I'm trying to do. I need you to bend that note hard, because I feel like you can convey emotions, and you can use all those resources that you have as a musician to convey an emotion. And I think that's my favorite part about music, really, or one of my favorite parts, is that you can convey an emotion, and that is the one thing I find that I strive to do. And if there's one thing I want to get better at, it's just that. Always being able to do that.
Would you say that you try to connect with people, or would you say that you just try to make them feel something regardless of how you're feeling? Would you say that it's a mutual thing, back and forth, or is it just on them?
I guess that's a good question. I've always thought of it of maybe trying to get someone to just feel something. I know a lot of times when I'm writing something, I know how I'm feeling when I'm writing it, or I know what I'm trying to push through. But at the end of the day, looking at it now, and by you asking me that question, it's why should I try to make someone feel a specific emotion? I know specifically how I felt, but maybe you don't need to feel that way, as long as you feel something. As long as we all connect to music in an emotional level. I feel like it makes you feel some type of emotion. And the music that we love the most is the music that brings the strongest emotions in you, right? Whether if your emotion is, you want to feel angry or something, then you're gonna listen to music that's kind of like that. Not to say that you're an angry person, or if you're gonna gravitate towards to the music that are just gonna make you feel the strongest emotions, I think. And I think that a lot of those emotions kind of comes from who you are,
what you've experienced.
Yeah, what you've experienced.
Yeah. Where you live.
Yeah, where you live. All these things. But at the end of the day, when it comes to brass tacks, that's what it's really about. So I'm not really looking for anyone to feel a specific way.
Are you trying to connect with people, or are you just trying to convey emotions? You're saying you're not really trying to make someone feel a certain way?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like conveying an emotion is almost is a way of connecting, right?
Could be.
Like to be able to convey a certain emotion that you feel, or being able to feel that emotion you feel, or being able to make them feel something at all, is a form of connection.
There are some artists that, you know, maybe it's a little cliche, but there are definitely some artists that I've heard say, "Oh, I feel like I'm connecting with my fans. I feel like through these words, I'm connecting." And I've heard other artists say, "I want to make people feel this way." Sometimes they'll be having a great night, sometimes they'll be having a shitty night, but they have an objective in mind. So maybe it's not so black and white. Maybe it's like not one or the other. Maybe it's both.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna have their own. Everyone has their own objective as
Mhm.
far as, like, you know, being a musician. Everyone has a different reason why they're doing it.
Totally.
Why are you doing it?
Because it's fun as hell.
Yeah, it is.
Good
answer.
That Japanese class.
Yeah.
Rocking out with those two.
It is fun
buddies.
as hell.
Because it's fun as hell, and there's like, I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. If I didn't like it, I'd stop.
Well, here's my thought. If you're going to feel an emotion, let's say you're feeling really happy when you write a song, right? The audience, when you play that song again, might not always feel happy. You know, they might not, their subjective feelings might not correlate with what you have tried to create for them. But if they feel anything at all, then, in my opinion, you have connected with them. You've made them feel something. When I listen to music, I'm not looking for, you know, uh, like a black and white thing. It's how do I feel when I'm listening to this? Music transcends culture. Music is the one thing that if you don't speak my language, I can show you a piece of music and you can be like, oh, nodding in your language, nodding in your language, nodding in general,
your language.
and then saying in your language,
there,
like,
there definitely
this
are
is
different
cool.
nods depending on what culture you're in.
There are. And we
So
can
don't
talk
worry, you're
about
good.
those
You're-
nods
you're
later.
good, you're good,
We
you're
can-
good.
Yeah. I've noticed many different nods. Yeah. So if you're trying to convey or just have your audience feel something, then as long as they're feeling anything, really, you've succeeded in general.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I
mean,
hope
that's
so.
I mean,
I hope so.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so.
so. I mean,
I hope so.
I hope that's the case. I hope it's the case every show we play. But
Do you feel like it is? Is there a show that you've gone to where you're like, oh, like I didn't connect with them?
Oh man, you're asking a musician if they ever played a show like, damn, I didn't connect with my fans.
Oh yeah.
Kyle, are you asking if there was a show where he was disconnected?
Oh, this is all one ploy to get that plug
Yeah,
in.
to get that
wasn't it?
plug.
No,
You
we
guys
didn't
were trying to
just
get
give
that
it.
plug.
No. That's not what happened.
Hey, it's our show. We can plug our name wherever
Trying
we
to get that plug. No, I mean, dude, as a musician, you're gonna play to so many fucking people that don't want to see your band just coming up. If you're gonna sit there and be like, every show, be like, oh man, like I really feel like we didn't connect with those people there, then you're doomed. You are doomed.
Lots of
Yeah,
struggling.
all the fucking time, man.
Yeah.
Short answer, yes.
Yeah, lots
Hell
of
yeah. Like
struggling.
there were so many times I have to play a show. I was like, damn it. Well, all right. That sucked.
Yeah.
But I think that when you do, that kind of like outweighs that. Everybody who decides to be a musician knows what that is like.
Speaking of connections and disconnections,
Oh god.
I know. I'm gonna do it every chance I get. This is great. How do you feel being like usually the only black dude at these mostly white shows, especially in New Jersey, Central Jersey, and Northern Jersey?
And you're not just a side, like you're not just on the drums in the background. Like you're the singer.
Yeah,
You're
dude, you're
front
the
in
front
front
man.
of that
Yeah.
crowd.
Like how what does that feel like? What's that like?
I mean, you like in a perfect world, you're not supposed to feel anything about that, right?
For sure.
It's just like whatever.
Just
But-
another human playing for another human.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's obviously not the case,
But I mean, I try not to really think about that type of stuff, to be honest.
Cool.
That's something that I know is there, but it's not something really try to think about, because if you do, that's just like, you got to recognize things, you got to understand things, you got to see, like, you got to be perceptive in what's going on around you, and like the
Be
state.
careful.
Yeah, the state of what's happening. But as far as like looking at that, it's always, I mean, it's something to think about, but it's something I choose not to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
not asking you as like the representative of the Black community. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like just personally, like you personally feel like you just don't want to acknowledge it. That's what you're saying?
I mean, I don't want to acknowledge it, but sometimes then you have to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I told you, I grew up essentially in a predominantly white neighborhood, so it's almost just like, yeah, it's normal for me at this point. Like, I don't really think about I think about it, so now more than ever, actually, if I'm being honest. But
was there an instance? Yeah, why?
I mean, I feel like now that I'm older, things are a little more apparent, if you will. When you're younger and you're around it all the time, like when you're like, when I was a kid, I would think about it, but like I just got so accustomed to it. But then like now that I'm older, it's almost like you kind of like revert back to it, and not in like a negative standpoint. It's more of just like you see it and you can see it, or like you can almost see how things kind of play differently for people, of my skin tone than others. But at the end of the day, it's not just like a music thing. If I'm gonna sit here and talk about it musically, I feel like that's just not even doing the whole picture justice, right? I can sit here and be like, oh, I'm like the only Black guy doing this, and I don't get the same opportunities. But if you just look at, Black people in America, that's just the story.
Right, it's the system as a whole.
Yeah, it's just the story. So it like that just be a very fraction of. So I don't think about it in the sense of just like music. If I'm gonna think about it, I'm gonna think about it in the terms of just like everything. As far as like prisons and opportunities and like everything. I'm gonna think about it that way, not just in music. Sure, I mean, I can sit here and talk about how it is in music, or maybe I can't. I don't know, but I know I can. Yeah. We can always. Everyone should be able to talk about how it is on a massive scale in America,
and we're lucky,
or maybe even global.
We're lucky that we can. We're in a time and place where we have the technology to spread our ideas, share our thoughts, come together from all different races, cultures, everything. Like. Your family's from Haiti. Mine's from Israel. Kyle's American.
I'm a mutt.
He's a mutt, but his dad is from Salt Lake City. Dude.
I always wonder, like, when is it that people can just say they're American? Because because like, if you ask an American, oh, like, where are you from? Or they'll be like, oh, I'm Italian, I'm Irish, I'm English. But like, you ask anyone else, they're just like, I'm.
Here, Stephen, why don't you ask an Israeli if they're American?
Are you American?
I am, because I'm naturalized. I've been here for so long that I became an American.
Exactly.
I'm also Israeli. It's not one or the other. You know what I mean? I'm both Israeli, both American, both a human, both a citizen of the world, both a collection of atoms. We're everything, dude. We're everything.
I think part of it is how you want to identify with yourself, right? So some people don't want to identify with the American culture, and so they are reluctant to say, I'm American. Like me personally, I don't say I'm from New Jersey when I go abroad. I say I'm from New York City because I work there. I have a lot of friends there. I know the area well. So when I'm out and about and they go, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, New York City.
Well, it's also a lot easier.
It's way easier.
It is.
Yeah, than to tell
but it's
like,
a convenience.
I'm from a little town. Like,
it's a convenience. So when someone says like, oh, what are you? It's like, for me personally, like I'm a mutt. My heritage is my mother's side is Hungarian Irish. My dad's side is Swedish and a bunch of other things. But my dad's side has been in America for so long that like I really am American. Like they traveled and like were with the Manifest Destiny. Like let's travel to the West. And
can I ask you something then?
Sure.
All right. let me bring this back. Once you say, let's just say, or let me ask you, would you say that it's only white people in America that usually when you ask them like, oh, what are you, or like, it's not just like I'm American or white. It's always something different. It's always like exactly what you just said.
It's what you want to identify with.
What they choose to identify with.
So Americans as a whole are a very diverse group of people.
That was like what I'm asking is 320 million people.
That was the purpose of America.
When can we become Americans?
So
when you choose to be.
I'm so glad you asked that. My understanding is that when you identify with your heritage, you're allowing yourself to be traditional. When you refuse to accept that the culture that you reside in and the culture that formed you, like us Americans, like all three of us in this room, we're technically Americans. We really are. When you refuse to accept that as your identity is when you start to have a culture and a society break apart as a whole. So if Americans decide not to identify as Americans, our culture and our society will dissolve. And we don't want that. When your culture and society dissolves...
Well, you're saying if the Americans just start referring themselves as Americans, you lose your culture.
No, he's saying the opposite.
No, I'm saying that when you
don't agree.
When you refuse to accept the culture you live in, and you say,
for American culture.
Right. So,
but also by calling yourself American, you're also losing the culture of which...
But that is subjective. Like, I don't lose my heritage by saying that I'm American. I'll give you an example. Americans all across the country are Americans. However, if I, from a, city area, New York City, again, am I identifying with New York City?
There you go.
Me as...
From Jersey, stand by it, right?
Yeah, Jersey, armpit of America. Anyway, so
best place ever been.
When I was in the Marine Corps, they would call me a city slicker, and they're from the Bible Belt, or they're from Western America, and they're a little bit...
Some of them from like Pennsylvania.
Some of them were from Pennsylvania.
Some were city slicker.
Some like that there too, man.
Yeah, some were from here in Staten Island. But the point is that they don't think that everyone everywhere is American, but that's not true. Like when you try and divide and say they're not us or they're not like us, well, you're wrong. You're American, they're American. You just happen to be in a different area, but that doesn't mean you're not of the same culture. And, when you get into the nitty-gritty stuff, like, yeah, the culture is different from a city to a rural area, but essentially we're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be uniformed in the sense that we're a diverse group together. That's what the United States is supposed to resemble.
Yeah, I don't think uniform is a good way to describe it, but support. Yeah.
Support.
Uniform meaning more like we're all the same, but diverse together, different together.
Different together.
Yeah.
Which is lost, unfortunately.
Yeah, well.
So it's good to acknowledge. I don't know how the fuck we got onto this. It's really good to acknowledge that there are systemic issues with how minorities are treated, and not just blacks. No offense to you, Stefan, but Hispanics, some Asians. It's like in Hollywood, there's this thing going on where it's very real. The Asian representation in movies is like so insignificant. It's almost not there.
They have to force it.
They have to force
to make
it.
up for lost time.
Or they have Kumar from Harold and Kumar, like in every movie.
Yeah.
He acts as the Asian guy in all movies. It's like, holy shit, can we get another actor in there? I know there's some more motherfucking actors.
I haven't seen him in a minute though. Doesn't he like work?
What do you mean, dude? He's in Star Trek, dude. He's what's that guy's name? Sulu.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, that's Sulu.
Hold on, he's in everything, man.
Am I thinking about the wrong person? I could be.
Dude, Harold became Sulu.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Well, music, race. I know you're into some other shit, Stefan.
Yeah, we were talking about galaxies before we came here.
Physics.
Actually, physics.
Oh, yeah.
You studied physics, right?
Yeah, I did.
How'd you get into that?
Oh God, I mean, I've always been really into science. Period. Like as a kid, and I feel like you know what you like, and it's just always something I kind of really been into, and like as by as time went on, I started to realize or find out what exactly with particular science that I like. So I always kind of liked it all. But I studied physics pretty much just to be an astronomer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never finish school or anything. But if I did, I was I pretty much started studying physics to become an astronomer. And my my astronomy teacher told me the best way to do it is to get your bachelor's in physics, go for your grad in astronomy, and go from there. And I was like, all right. So I guess I'll just make my major physics. And this is like, he told me that before I even decided on a major.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, it's probably like maybe 20.
Mm-hmm.
28, 20, yeah, around 20. I didn't know what I was really doing. I just know I didn't want to go to school to study music. I know I wanted to just use the opportunity for school to study something else.
After high school, did you go straight to?
I went straight to school and then left.
Where were you at school?
I was at Bergen.
Right after high school.
After high school.
Been
So
there.
I went to Bergen Community College.
How long were you there for?
My first stint was a semester, and then I retired. Went back a couple of years later, and that was when I kind of like was a little older and started knowing a little more of what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
and that was a lot easier. And that was when I started studying physics, and then I retired again.
Why'd you leave school the second time?
Essentially, I mean, one, because I was paying for it myself, and I was like, well, I have no money. But also, that was when I really started getting heavy into music, and I was just like, well, it's either I spend this amount of years trying to get to where I want to be, like as a physics or astronomer, or I spend this amount of years getting to where I want to be as a musician. And I was like, all right, well, they're probably going to end up being both around the same type of money I'm going to spend. And this one's a lot more fun. So, and this one's not really going to go anywhere. Granted, obviously, getting
the physics or astronomy.
I mean, school.
Yeah, school.
Really. And granted, you get older, it gets a lot harder to go to school. But my mentality was just like, if it's something you really want to do, you just got to fucking go for it. So that's what I did. And if I really wanted to go into that, I would have just went for it. That was my thing. I like coming out of high school, I feel like I made like a bunch of stupid decisions, and I got to a certain point where I was just like, I'm just gonna follow that one goal that I have, that I know that I want to do in my life. I feel like a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people like try to like,
especially right out of high school.
Yeah,
a lot of pressure.
You do what your parents tell you, and I did as well. I did. My parents told me, I did what I thought I should be doing.
You also see all your other friends going away to school.
Exactly. So
there's pressure of that.
Yeah, and you just think, I got to apply. I was like doing things I felt like I didn't want to do. So then eventually, like, you kind of get that moment where like it hits you in the face, and you're just like, wait a minute, I'm just gonna put my fucking heart into the one thing that I want to do. And I've always felt like I was kind of lucky to even know that in an early age.
Not everyone gets to know that.
Yeah, I feel like there's people like our age that just do not know what they want to do at all.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm lucky that I know what I want to do. Is it the easiest thing?
Spell it out. Like, we know you want to do music, but like, bro, what do you want to do? Like, tell us about like end game, Stephen. Where are you gonna be in like the next like 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
Instead of going for that doctorate in astronomy,
Yeah,
you're gonna
right.
rock it out. Like, what's up?
What's like final form, Stephen?
Yeah,
right? Like,
form.
Take us through like the evolution. Right
Jesus,
now. All the different forms.
It's tough to say. I mean, I know what I want for myself, but no one really. Everyone has an idea, and my idea is that I just want to be in a comfortable position where I can enjoy what I'm doing and live like a sensible person, like a normal person, in the sense that like obviously being a musician is not like a normal day-to-day job, but it can be just doing something that you've always wanted to do and making a living out of it. I think that would make me happy. Like that is happiness to me, as far as just like getting what you living what you want, like just having a goal for yourself and obtaining that goal. Happiness is always going to change as you grow older. One time, this girl I was on a date with, she asked me, "Are you happy?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I think I could be happier." And then she was like, "Well, there's your problem. Happiness, why does it have to be a destination?" And I was just like, "Oh, fuck."
Whoa.
So I went to the jury. Never saw her again, by the way.
The Tinder girls are getting smart, dude.
Was she a Tinder girl?
Never saw her again. What's Tinder?
Perfect.
Literally, what a great answer.
Cheers to that.
I have no idea what Tinder is.
As he chugs his beer. Oh man.
But yeah, so
okay, but what's like the next step above that?
Yeah.
Let's say you get that, you get what you want. What's the, fantasy? You have what you want, but what's like the fantasy, the next level above that for you?
Yeah, listen, if I could travel the world and be comfortable, that's happy.
well,
But the fantasy is
what's
like
your fantasy?
it's beyond that.
yeah, I mean, like,
What's that for you, Stefan? I'm curious.
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, I never even thought about like what I could do after I got there.
You just want to get there first.
Yeah, it's just like to me, it's like one step at a time, and in between getting to there, there's a bunch of other steps. So like once I shouldn't be thinking. I feel like I shouldn't be thinking about like I have a long-term goals, obviously, but I feel like I should be focused on what's right in front of me right now,
Mm-hmm.
and then like once I get there, I can like move on. I think that I may have an idea of what I want as far as like what do I want, later in life is more of like doing music, and then the perfect thing for me, if I can put it out, it'd be becoming a respected artist at whatever it is that I do, being respected at that point, and using that platform or using that know-how as a way to segue into other things that I could get into as well.
For sure.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
So
yeah.
like
that's attainable.
doing like doing the music, and then now you've done music, and now people are gonna listen to you, regardless of what you're talking about. Even if you're not talking about music, how many people are gonna listen to Kanye West talk about politics?
You want to get into politics?
No, absolutely not. But the point is, like, people are gonna listen to him, and I feel like it'd be nice to get to a platform where like my words can be respected enough so that people will actually give a shit about what I have to say about other topics and issues.
For sure.
And I would love to.
And a lot of people do that. That's what a lot of celebrity
exactly.
people do. It's how they maintain their celebrity.
They get to a certain point, and now they can literally talk about anything, and they don't have to be the most famous celebrity at all. Like, fame is not something that, I mean, I don't think anyone, when you really think about, wants. If you do, you're a mad person.
A little narcissistic.
Yeah,
you're
mad.
Yeah.
If anyone wants fame, I feel like you're wild. But I love
Patrick Bateman, dude.
Oh yeah. But I love, the thing. Like, I feel like I love something that if you take it to the highest level, it kind of just comes with it. Not necessarily that's what you want, but that's what comes with it. But I feel my thing is just getting to a point where it's not about fame or getting like any of that. It's about getting to a point where you are respected enough at what you do or did that like you can use that to make a platform and kind of just like almost make things better.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think that's really attainable. That being said, what's next? Give us what's next for your music, what's next for the Big Easy's music.
So right now I'm almost done writing a record. Like, so close I can taste it.
Full length?
Yeah, full length. And what's next is to finish it out, finish these songs, get them sounding right, putting them out, and hopefully getting them to the right ears and the right places where they flourish.
Got any shows coming up?
Oh.
Yeah, throw out some plugs.
All right. Well, all right. So
yeah, where can people find it?
You're like, ooh, shows,
this
but
is
plugs?
the plug.
Okay.
Plugs. He got so excited. I wish we did video just so we could show people the look on Stefan's
the reactions.
face.
Listen to Drake's latest album.
No, good plug.
So, yeah, I mean, I've been really focused on writing this record, but we do have a couple shows coming up. We have a couple in New Jersey. So, I've been getting things together with that and working on that and making sure everything's aligned with that. But really, it's been anything right now. It's kind of like one-offs. It's really focused on writing the best damn record I possibly can and putting, like, to me, this record has to be the best damn thing I've ever done in my life.
This episode actually isn't going to air for a couple weeks from the time of recording it. So instead of upcoming shows, where can people find the music?
Yeah, that way they can find when you drop.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the Big Easy. I'm a singer and a songwriter in a band called the Big Easy. In which case you can use
nonchalant.
You can use all of your favorite streaming sources. You can use Apple Music, if you will, Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp, Facebooks, Instagrams.
I heard we're not using Facebook anymore. You didn't delete your Facebook, bro?
No, why would I delete my Facebook?
I deleted it off my phone at least.
You deleted Facebook?
Oh, I mean, my Facebook's been deleted off my phone forever.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you just got to that point?
No, I wasn't sure if you guys weren't on the trend. It's like it's like hip right now to delete Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
After the whole
I'm
breach,
totally on the
after
train.
the whole like
I am lost.
All right, we'll talk after the show. Obviously, you're keeping Facebook.
Yeah. No, but yeah, you can find all the major streaming platforms. We're the Big Easy. You just type it in. We should be,
One more thing I want to ask you. If you were to give a quick piece of advice, just a quick piece of advice for like upcoming musicians, band or solo, just like what should they watch out for?
My biggest advice is to use your resources and know who you need to talk to. Your music can be great and you can reach a lot of people. I also think that another bit of advice is to don't lose the, I guess, like, intimate side of being a musician, in the sense that go out to shows and make friends with people and talk to other musicians and get your music out that way. I know a lot of people can use the internet to get their stuff out there, but one thing I would like is if no one really lost touch. Not saying that that's a thing, but it'd be nice to have that continue on for as long as music is a thing.
Say it. Say the word disconnected.
Oh,
God. You were so on the cusp.
I just don't want anyone to be disconnected.
So on the cusp of saying it.
Look out. If anyone could see a camera and see Ori's face right now, he's happy.
I'm so happy.
But as long as if we keep that connection, that interpersonal connection between different artists and musicians, and not even musicians, just like any type of art. You can you meet someone who is great at, their art or drawing or painting. There's different ways we can all help each other. There's different ways we can all, do things for each other and make us better, and hopefully by turn the world a better place. So I think that if you're asking me what my advice is, it's just to stay interwoven with people in a deeply personal way within the art in which you're doing, because I feel like that is almost another great part about being an artist, or any particular trade or passion that you have. Being around like-minded people that are doing that will, one, only make you better and just give you so much more experience. And that's something I feel like you don't necessarily get from just sitting behind your computer and putting things out that way. But yeah, just talk to people.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
Awesome
advice.
Yeah. Stephan, thank you for coming in, man.
Yeah, thank you
this
so
is
much.
Great.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's awesome to be here and answer these questions. You guys really made me think about stuff that I don't usually think about. So.
That's the idea. That's the idea, man.
You guys are really disconnecting those patterns in my brain to maybe think about all this stuff. But thank you guys. It's awesome to be here. And thanks for this wonderful lager that I have.
Thank
in
Kyle's
my
dad.
dad. Thanks, Kyle's dad.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode on the Disconnection Podcast, where we aim to inform, inspire, and close the disconnections in your life. Special thanks today for our guests for giving a unique perspective on a range of topics. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, the podcast app, and everywhere else. I've been Kyle.
I've been Ori.
And we'll catch you on the next episode of Disconnection.
Connection.
I put my life in the devil's hands tonight. Put my life in the devil's hands. I put my life in the devil's hands tonight.